Hi, this is Sherry Andrea, and thank you for listening. I appreciate you. If you're looking for me, you can find me at sherryspeaks.com, sherryspeaks.com, where you can find 80 plus attunements, a Reiki certificate creator, where you can create beautiful Reiki certificates by putting all your information in, that are only $1.75. And if you need to download manuals, most manuals are free. Just go to the downloads manuals page under on the navigation menu. It's you'll see a link that says attunements, and it's under there. Um, Also, there are services such as the deep energy clearing, which is only $15. It's very affordable, but don't let the price fool you. Um, my energy clearings are very effective. So just because I'm only charging $15, um, maybe it's easier for me to do deep energy clearings than someone else. I mean, because of certain things I have going on. And that's what this video is going to be about. So we are going to get into that. And I'm going to explain some things to you. Also, this is like kind of a teachable moment too. So if you pay attention, you may learn something that may help you if if you're learning to be a Reiki healer, if you're learning general energy work, you have questions, or even if you've already been a Reiki healer or a master for a little while and you're just looking to improve, maybe there is something that I share with you that you may be able to add to what you're doing that may help. Okay, so remember to subscribe, and if you'd like to share this video, but definitely subscribe because that helps me. Also, like I said, if you're looking for me, you can find me at sherryspeaks.com, or if you want to donate, go to sherryspeaks.com/donate. Okay, let's get right to it. Okay, so this video is about my deep energy clearings. I have a lot of people that often email me and ask me questions about them, such as, how long is this session? Well, how do you do this? And really, I don't know. I kind of feel like sometimes that's neither here nor there. If I were to explain to somebody how I do my energy clearings, it's not that you would necessarily understand everything that I do and how I accomplish that. But I wanted to kind of talk about the energy clearings, things that I do, how it works, just so that you have a little bit more insight maybe before you're getting ready to order it, or maybe you're trying to figure out maybe why they're so effective. Because some people have said that to me. They're like, I don't understand. I have this, Buddhist teacher who's enlightened, and when I get transmissions from him, I don't feel them as powerfully as yours. So there may be some questions that you have that I may be able to answer here. Okay, let's see where we'll start. First of all, let's start with the money issue, and let's get that out of the way. Just because I'm only charging $15, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean, there are some people, I've heard people say, oh, you can't do that. People will think that because it's inexpensive, it's not good. Well, I believe that you got to give people more credit than that. People are smart. You've got to give them more credit than that, and you've got to give them credit that they can figure out for themselves what they need. And there are a lot of people that are good with getting intuition and getting guidance. And so I believe that they'll know in their heart when it's right, when it is my deep energy clearing that they need, and when it's maybe someone else's. I work with my higher self, but I also work with the angels and ascended masters. Now, even if you're not, let's say, for example, you wouldn't call yourself spiritual. Let's say you would call yourself more religious. Let's say you're still involved in traditional religion. And hearing me say, oh, I work with angels and ascended masters, maybe that makes you feel some kind of way, like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Oh, well, my pastor or my minister has told me that that's bad, that's evil. So he's told you Jesus is evil because Jesus is an ascended master. Okay, angels are mentioned in the Bible and also other spiritual books. So think for yourself. That's all I can tell you is think for yourself with the knowledge that you have in your own mind, and don't just go by what somebody else has told you because they could be wrong. Go with your own guidance. Don't be led by man. Try to be most often led by your own inner intuition and guidance. Okay, so when I say that I work with my higher self and the angels and ascended masters, I don't mean that I'm just asking them do this, do that, do the other thing for this person. It's kind of like we're working in conjunction with each other. It's like a team effort. That's how I see it. Like we're working as a team. There are certain things I do, and then there are certain things I ask them to do, and there's certain things that I ask them to do, but I do something along with it. And I'll give you an example, just so this isn't confusing. For example, I'll say to my higher self, please surround this person with the violet flame. But at the same time, I visualize the person surrounded by the violet flame. Visualization is very important. And is very important and makes your energy clearings and any energy work you're doing way more effective. Visualize. This is a part of manifestation. You've got to visualize what it is you want to happen. So again, I'm asking my higher self to do that, but I'm visualizing it happening. That's almost like me doing it. Okay, I may also ask my higher self to clear and balance all your major and minor chakras, but at the same time, I also take the time to visualize each one, do various things to clear it, all of them. So I'm doing this visual. I may also ask my higher self to place certain crystals in certain chakras, but I also visualize that. So how I do it now, let me also let you know, I also have telekinesis. When I first started working on metaphysics, even before I started really getting into Reiki, when I used to practice moving energy through me, I noticed that for some reason I had an ability to move energy in a very strong and powerful way. I would often, I would be in chat rooms with people, and empathically I would feel some injury they had. Like, oh wow, who is that I'm feeling? Feels like something's wrong with my foot or my ankle. And, a person would say, oh, that's me you're feeling. I was walking back from the store and I somehow tripped over a crack in the sidewalk or something, and I kind of twisted my ankle. And I would heal myself and at the same time heal them. I remember the first time it happened. The person said to me, wow, all of a sudden all my pain is just suddenly gone. And he asked me, he was like, did you do that? And I was like, well, yeah, I just, I decided to try it. To try to heal myself with the intent of healing us both. And within just less than a minute, it worked. It's little things like this, experiences like that I had that first told me that there was some ability that I had to move energy. And I used to basically just practice running energy through me. And when I say practice running energy through me, from various places, the ocean, Stonehenge, just various places, the sun, the moon. I don't really like running energy from the moon anymore. I get a really weird bad feeling when I run energy from the moon, and I've had some odd experiences. So I don't run energy from the sun, although I've tried, I've done it just to try it, just to experience what that energy is like, but I wouldn't recommend it because there's balance in everything, and there's balance within you. And fire, you don't want to have too much of. You got to be very careful when it comes to doing anything with the elements, because you could really hurt yourself with too much of one element, and those elements within you being out of balance. So, I used to do that all the time. I would just practice running energy through me. Practicing, like, how it feels, running it through, like, and visualizing and imagining it coming out of my hands. And I would stand with bare feet on my tile floor to do this. Sometimes I would I ground myself and run energy up and out. Sometimes I would do different things where I would run it up, out, and kind of around from both sides, like I'm making a loop. This is what I've told a lot of people, and I've said this in other videos, to get stronger so that your energy work has more power behind it. I really would recommend you practicing flowing energy through you every day, because the more you practice flowing energy through you, of course, always from a safe source, never from a person, but practicing every day, flowing energy through you, you will get stronger and stronger with the ability to move and manipulate energy. Because as a healer, that is what you're doing. Remember from science, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Okay, that's true. Remember that. Basic science principle, right? But what you're doing is you're manipulating it. This is basic manifestation. It's like you're changing one thing into another. You're not creating anything. You're manipulating energy. Everything is energy. What you're doing is you're changing it to be what you want it to be. Whether that's a matter of clearing it, because maybe if somebody has a sickness, an illness, you're trying to get rid of something within their body that is out of balance with them, that is foreign, negative, intrusive. You are trying to affect either changing it or causing a detox, of flushing of it from their body. Now, in addition to doing this, I do call on, the angels and the ascended masters to help with certain things. Especially when it comes to removing attachments, I do the severing of agreements, contracts, deeds, vows, promises. Because think about it. Many people say things and they don't really think much about what they said. For example, when somebody passes away and you make that statement, like in mourning, like, oh, a part of my heart is going with them. Like literally, you're causing a fragmentation of yourself. It's called soul fragmentation. You can Google it, you can look it up. And yeah, I've in a teaching session, if you really want to know more about soul fragmentation and how to gather those pieces back, put those pieces back together, because a person can have fragmentations up to like 3,000 or more fragmentations. things that happen in their life. I'll tell you about one of mine that caused fragmentations. When I was little, I think about 12 or 13, and we moved from the home that I had grown up in because my father got a promotion, and we were moving from Newburgh, New York to Albany, New York. And I didn't want to leave, of course. You know how it is. When you're young, you don't want to leave the only home that you've ever known with the only friends you've ever known. You know what I mean? And I remember being very sad. And I remember I continued talking about how when I became an adult that I was going to go back and I was going to buy our house back and I was going to live in it. Like, I don't know, I guess in my mind I was like, yeah, when I become an adult, I'm going to go back, I'm going to buy my house back, and I'm never going to leave ever again. Sure enough, after I'd learned about soul fragmentation and meditation, I went back to the house, and I found myself still sitting on the stairs like I was waiting, like I didn't want to leave. There was a part of myself I left there. Sometimes when things like that happen and your emotions are so strong when it comes to it, you do leave a part of yourself somewhere. Think about it. Where have you maybe left a part of yourself? I was working with a client one time, and I was helping her to try to discover what one of her triggers, where it came from. And I often will ask people, can you try to remember the first time, maybe even it was when you were little, that you ever felt this way? And she told me about an instance where when she was, I want to say it was in high school, she was very much been into sports, very athletic. And she was diagnosed with something that caused her to not be able to play sports anymore. She went from being one of the popular best players on the team to being basically the water boy, but the water girl, sitting on the bench, being in charge of the water and the towels. She never really got over that. It affected her for a long time. And when we talked about the things she'd been going through, how certain things had been triggering her, and I said to her, you're still sitting on that bench. You never left. You're still sitting there. You're still benched. Often when I help people to go back and find where their triggers came from, usually there's that moment where they're like, oh my God, you're right. I'm still there. It's usually, that moment of discovery is usually enough to jar them out of it, to literally allow that trigger to dissolve, and then for them to go back and to release themselves from that. For them to go back and tell themselves, you know what? It's okay. You don't have to sit on the bench anymore. You're free now. So, if you want to work on soul fragmentations and you want to learn how to do that, you can always set up a teaching session. They are 10 minutes, $10, $15, 20 minutes, $20, 30 minutes. And you can go to my scheduler to schedule it directly. You don't have to go through the website, and you can just go to sherryspeaksnow.simplybook.me, or you can go through my website to find those services. But like I was saying, I do sever those, not only getting rid of attachments, but I also sever those vows, those promises, promises you've made. Like in a lifetime, there are some people who metaphysically got to an advanced level, and maybe did something and caused some problem. And maybe they vowed in some previous lifetime to never use their abilities again. Or they vowed in some previous lifetime to never do this or that again. Oh, I'll never do this. When you say things like that, I know it may seem like it doesn't have any power, but words have power. And there's an effect from the things that you say. And this can carry forward into other lifetimes. So I sever those. So there's a lot of other things I do when I do the deep energy clearings. But just understand this. When I say I work on a session, it's not a set amount of time. That would be like asking a cardiologist that's going to do some heart procedure. They usually give you estimates of the time it's going to take, right? They might say, oh, this is a 2-hour surgery. But do they mean that exactly? Well, no. It may take an hour, 45 minutes. It may take 2 hours, 15 minutes. But do you generally ask your heart surgeon, okay, well, how long is this session? I'm going to need to know. I'm going to need to know how you do that. Now, it's a procedure. They specialize in what they do. They know what they're doing. So generally, you don't focus on how long is this going to take? How long is this? Because, things come up. Hey, it might take longer. Hey, I don't know what I'm going to get when, what's going to come to me when I'm doing a deep clearing. I don't know what my higher self is going to guide me to do, because sometimes I'm guided to work on certain things, do certain things. I don't know. So it may take me 20 minutes. It may take me a half an hour. Hey, it may take me an hour. I may have to split the session up. It may in all take an hour. So I can't really answer that question. No, I cannot do it over the phone. I get that a lot. I really do try to accommodate people, but what I do, it's not exactly simple. This isn't like coloring in a color book. It does require focus. And those of you who are learning to be, energy workers, Reiki healers, you probably understand what I mean by that, about the focus it requires. While you're doing it, while you're helping somebody and doing energy work for them, isn't it more difficult for you if the kids are coming up constantly asking you a question? Your husband is asking you if you've seen the screwdriver. One of your other kids is coming up saying, "Hey, mommy, can you buy me a new game for my Xbox?" And you're being disturbed. Doesn't it make it more difficult for you to do that energy clearing effectively? You need focus. Even when it comes to manifestation and the law of attraction, while you're doing it, you need in-depth focus. And this is one of the reasons why we meditate every day. Because we're trying to kind of retrain our brains to allow us to have intense focus, to really, really be focused. So that's the reason why, no, I can't do the energy clearings over the phone. I have on occasion done attunements over the phone. However, there's really no need for it. There's really no need for it. But yeah, I need that focus. It's not as effective if I'm actually on the phone with the person, because most people, I've dealt with this before. A lot of people, they haven't had enough control of themselves to let me do my thing, because what ends up a lot of times happening is while I'm trying to do the energy work, the person is actually talking on and on and on and on about stuff going on in their life, and I'm not able to focus. So that's the reason why we don't do it over the phone. The other thing that I do is I clear your home. Sometimes if I'm guided to, I will also clear your vehicle. When I clear your home, I clear the whole property. And if it's an apartment building, I just sometimes get what it is. I see like what it is. Like, so sometimes I'll be guided to clear a whole building. Sometimes I'll be guided to clear your job, the building you work in, or your workspace. So, in a basic way, the least that I do is I clear your home and your property, your whole property. But I'm also guided to do other things. I'm often guided when there is energy that's kind of hiding in the home. Like, corners of the home are great hiding places for negative energy. Now, I didn't say entities necessarily, energy. Because, like, let's say when you get mad and you get angry and you start yelling and screaming, you get in a bad argument with your kids or your husband, okay, that energy is going out from you and it goes somewhere. It doesn't just disappear. It doesn't go away. It goes out of you, but it stays within your area, your living space, wherever you're at. It stays there and then can interact back with you. Like, you know that feeling like sometimes you feel like something's working against you? A lot of times it's negative energy that's either been put out by you or somebody else. And it'll stay dormant for the most part. And I'm usually, when I clear a home, I make sure to get the core. I know this sounds so weird, but I make sure to get the corners of the home. Yeah, I could do all this in visualization. I can, believe it or not. I know it makes you maybe in a reading want to say to me, well, then describe to me what my home looks like. No, it doesn't quite work that way. What I get is what I'm shown is what I need to be shown to do the energy work I need to do, but it's not necessarily exact. Because if I described it, you might say, well, actually my kitchen, living room, bedroom aren't like that, aren't set up, laid out like that. But that's not, how can I put this? It's not exact. And it doesn't work that way. Like, for example, just because I don't know what a person looks like doesn't mean I can't send them an energy clearing or an attunement. I don't need to see a picture. I never need to see a picture. My higher self knows where you are, knows who you are, knows who asked me what. You could send me an email and never give me your name, your address, anything. I could not even know if you were a girl, a boy, a man, whatever. My higher self gets that done. My higher self knows where you are, who you are, what it is you want, what your intentions were, what you needed help with. My higher self knows everything. And I rely on my higher self to help me get it done. Now, even if you haven't fully merged with your higher self, and maybe you're just learning energy healing, you're learning to do psychic readings, same thing goes for psychic readings. I remember when I thought I used to have to purposely connect to a person before I could do a psychic reading for them, until I realized it gets done. That connection to the correct person happens if I let it happen. And if I trust and believe in it. If I don't believe in it, if I don't believe that's how it works, if I don't believe it's that simple and easy, then in fact for me it won't be. If you believe that you cannot do a reading without purposely connecting with somebody, if you believe you can't do a reading unless you're grounded, if you believe you can't do a reading before you said a little prayer, then in fact you won't be able to. Then in fact when you go to do a reading without those things, you may have a tough time. Because it's all about what you believe to be true. That is a powerful thing. What you believe to be true. You need to believe you are a powerful energy healer. If you believe it, then you are manifesting that. You are helping that to be true. The universe is just going to believe what you believe. The universe looks down on you and goes, oh, she thinks she's just average. So that's what must be true. You need to know the power that you have within you to harness. Work on that, every day. Spend a little bit of time. I don't care if it's only a few minutes. Sit with your eyes closed. Tell yourself what you want to believe to be true. Try to wrap your mind around it. Do this every day. The more you do it, the more you will be able to get into the belief of it. I also do protect. When I do the deep energy clearing, I do put protection up around the home. There are other things I do. I notice with certain things I'm not being specific. That's because, that saying, the walls have ears? I think that's the saying. Be very careful about... I've helped people when they've been being psychically or spiritually attacked. And when I'm helping people, and it's usually people who they're either spiritually advanced or they know a little bit about energy work, but they need a little bit of help stopping the energy attack, because when you're being spiritually or psychically attacked, it's very difficult to focus through the psychic attack to help yourself, to fight it. So sometimes, it helps if you have a friend that would help you out. Because I say a friend because you got to realize they're taking a risk for you. Because once they start fighting what is coming up against you, it's going to come up against them too. It's going to fight them too. But I can remember helping a friend and me having to explain to him, you have to be careful with what we're saying and with techniques we're sharing and what we're saying we're going to do, because often people that do such a thing to people, sometimes they're using a creation of energy that is like a familiar. It's almost like creating a chi ball. And they're sending it out to do what they want it to do. And so imagine that it can hear you. It's there. It can hear what you're saying. It can hear the techniques you're using. Oh, okay, so that's how she's defeating us. We're going to do something different. So that's why I haven't gone too in depth with how I do some things, because for them to be effective and for some negative energy not to get around it and not to be able to protect itself from it, it needs to not know what's coming and what I'm going to do. I know it sounds like something out of a Marvel movie or something, but it's real. You wouldn't imagine what's real. The Matrix, go watch that movie. If you haven't watched it, even if you have, go watch it again. It'll give you a lot of insight. Really, there is the Matrix exists. Go watch that movie. You'll get a lot of insight. Watch it. Watch it more intently than normally you watch a movie. But anyway, sorry to ramble a little, but I wanted to share with you, just a little bit about the deep energy clearings, what I do, kind of how I do it. And I also wanted to share it in a way where maybe it would help you to take something I've said to help you be an even more effective and powerful energy worker and Reiki healer. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I've enjoyed sharing it. I so appreciate all of you. You just wouldn't believe. I thank you for listening and giving me your time. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Namaste.